Man, today was a day. It was definitely a day. God fucking damn. I forgot yesterday that I had to go to doctor like today in the morning to finish the tongues for me. Finish the tongues for me. What's her name? Let me check something. Let me see if this works. I don't think it will. Yeah, I'm not going to. Yeah, fuck it. One and the other maybe, but it's just. So yeah, it was the whole thing with I had to go to the doctor not maybe, mostly for the biopsy of my appendix because of the surgery. And it was basically just getting there, just entering the room, and then the doctor just going, here's your biopsy. You either have or not have cancer. That's it. Just 1-2 minutes things. I had to wait for 6 hours. I had to wait for 6 fucking hours. Because of stupid people. What happened was my appointment with the doctor was for the day 27. Today is 25. So what happened is that before, I think in the past week, they called me and said, well, we're moving your appointment. Instead of being day 27, it's now day 25. That's 7 in the morning instead of 27, 30 p.m. Not 30 p.m., 1 p.m., because 30 is already p.m. Oh, let me just fucking move the song to not loop anywhere. I don't recall this song. Oh, no, now I do. So, as far as I understood, every single person there, the ones that I managed to talk with, that were waiting for the appointment, all of them had appointments on day 27 and were moved to day 25. Turns out, they warned all the patients, but didn't warn the doctor. So the doctor didn't knew that he had an appointment with patients that day, so she didn't go to. So we're there waiting for around 4 hours to be for the doctor to arrive. But since the doctor was never warned, she was not there. And we had to wait for one of the other doctors just went and just, I'm gonna get you guys, but first you need to wait for all of me to get all of my patients first. You're gonna be at the end of the line. It's either that or just go home. So yeah, I stood there for 6 hours waiting just to be the last because I am technically the youngest, let's say, and was the last in line as well. So I was there waiting to be the last one and then enter the room. And the doctor just talked to me. Not even talked to me. He just printed the result of the biopsy and there was nothing. That's it. 6.5 hours for 2 minutes. It almost sounds like a woman complaining about having to do a bunch of makeup and all that nonsense for a long time. Like waste the entire day just doing hair, makeup, the shaving, shit, just for the guy to last for 2 minutes. Oh, but it was funny because of the events afterwards. I mean, during mostly. Because since it was the last one, was kind of having. I had some more time with the doctor, even though it was just 2 minutes. And while I was there, a nurse came by and just gave the doctor just a bunch of crackers, like small packets because it's a hospital, like the same that they give to the patients, and a cup of coffee. And just made sure to tell him this is coffee made in the morning. It's not even like new coffee. It's just old coffee made in the morning. And then he just thanked her and whatever the fuck, because at least it was something. Turns out the thing is, people outside before me, they were all complaining because it was taking too long, and the doctor was like enjoying his time to get us, even though it wasn't his, like he wasn't obligated to do so. So while the doctor starts eating in front of me, that was funny. He made that fucking mess on that table there. A bunch of like crumbs everywhere. And while he was eating, while he printed the thing, I said to him, I said, everyone outside was complaining that you were taking too long to get us. But no one was thinking that you were supposed to be out for lunch. And no one considered that fact that there is like two sides to this. Not only us just waiting, but you doing extra work because someone didn't went there. It was fun. It was funny how he looked at me in a manner of, huh, this person sees me as a human being. And then he started just I saw that he just went out of the doctor person. He started saying like things, yeah, you can't believe, you won't believe that I have a surgery to do later even. I'm gonna have to do the surgery just with crackers and coffee. I feel for the person that is going to be under surgery with him. And then after he gave me, he just showed me the paper, explained, just, yeah, you're free, you're good to go, no need to come back. And then just like thanked him, and then I said like, good luck with the surgery later as well. And he just looked at me with like kind of a smile on his face, just one. No one ever says that to me. And then I don't recall exactly what the wording that he used. It was mostly thank you for the pleasantries or some shit like that. I mean, it was in Portuguese, and I have to fucking translate the word that I barely use. It was something like that. God damn it, I forgot to God, nah, shit, I forgot to put the other fan in place. There we go. Now I'm not gonna suffer with the weather too much, just much. But yeah, I got a kick out of treating people well, especially when it's people who are on a thankless job. If the people deserve it as well, because most of the time people are just a bunch of pieces of shit. Oh, fuck me, I forgot. But yeah, yesterday I couldn't do the stream because I had to wake up early. Way too early than I'm used to. And now today, let me see. Just had to check the sound design. I forgot, I can just look at the thing and see if it goes up to 30 decibels. So yeah, that was the day. And now I don't know if I will be able to do a stream at night because I'm gonna be sleepy when it gets there. Let me see, moves the execute systems, remove the initialize up there. This one, the Unity execution phase just adds a start at the beginning and changes the values of the other ones. Context just does the add components to the entity that I fucking forgot. There's the logic system, the new thing. So it's mainly we're gonna do the game manager and the execution phase and do a feature support for running systems on start phase. And then there's the logic system that is not fully implemented. I am forgetting to open something. I don't know, man. I'm quite sure there's something I'm forgetting. Chat is here. Even though most of the time there's no one to speak to, but still, chat is there. There's the dashboard for Twitch. And there is avatar and screen. The little cover arts that I did in the Giphy is there because it doesn't use the same system that I used to get cover art. And I think that's it. I might be crazy as usual. Okay. The contexto. The create entity needs to add entities to the tongue. So the way I presume this should work is by looking at the archetype manager. Oh, god damn it. See, I'm sleepy right now. Looking at the archetype manager, and then we'll have to add a batch option. The advantage of that is that let's do afterward that one. Public, no, internal. Add components. No, ads, let's be descriptive. This is specifically for when it's not a component wrapping. Don't bash. Well, we can work with it. Let's do like this and then add an I. Influence. Adds new. You could just call it adds new entity. Because we have remove components in here. The add entity and shit like that is passed inside of the archetype. But mostly what we need to do is, oh yeah, there's another thing that I wanted to do is organize the storage of the entity the component IDs on the archetype in order. So it's like from low to high. So that whenever we copy from one archetype to the other, it's faster, the copy, because even if it removes one from the middle or whatever the fuck, we just reorganize them. So it makes it a little bit faster. But still, let me think. Add new components. Because I don't want to do checks in here, because there's no need to do checks, because it's a entity that has no archetype yet. It wasn't assigned to anything. But I don't want to do a create entity in here because it's an archetype manager. And I want it to be clear. Although yeah, let's just have adds new entity. Fucking, it's gonna be internal value. We won't have options to. Fuck. We won't have options to access this besides from the context. It's only the context that is going to do something like this. No, we won't add new entity anywhere else. So it's clear. Now that I think about it, fuck me. It is clear to us. This is specific to adding a new entity with their components, and it makes it clear why there's no checks to see if like components exist or whatever the fuck. But then this could also be used to add components in batches. Maybe no. Because it should have partial calls, but not. No, the responsibility of this will rely solely on archetypes, so it's not that complex. On the outside, we just pass the values, and on the archetype, we just handle the batch thing. So it will not be that much different from a regular one. Let me see. Component IDs. New component ECSX ID. Components, the length. And then we get the component wrappers, which has the same size. What we do over here. Yeah, it's basically creating a component IDs as well from the previous archetype. We need to partially do the same fucking thing that we do when we create new archetypes as well, which we very much like. We'll encapsulate this in method. Just like this, quite sure that this part here, and then encapsulate them all into a I don't know, maybe not fully, because the entity ID is the only one that is used. We'll see. Eventually you will see if there is like duplicated code like this here, which is exactly what I'm doing now. Okay, component IDs. It creates an array that has the length of the components. Oh, I see. That is going to be to pass all the components inside of it and then hash them. And then creates a component wrappers array that is the exact same as well, because it needs to know those values. And then we do a for that iterates through the component IDs and gets the component ID from the type of the component and it stores into it. And then it gets the component wrappers and stores the component ID to it and the component itself. Right. And then we do a archetype hash. We hash the component IDs, that's correct, and then check to see if the archetype exists, which might, because not just because we're creating a new entity doesn't mean that the archetype doesn't exist yet. So it checks for existing archetype and adds the entity to it, as well as with the component wrappers. If I recall correctly. Yeah, there's already a batch thing in there. I'm the one that is dumb. Forgot about that. And then it passes the batch. If not, it needs to create a new one. I wonder how much of these we can encapsulate in a single tongue and just do it all. Possibly, I was gonna say just passing the component wrappers, I don't know. Maybe if you had a component wrapper that is specific for components as an array, it could work. Instead of having like an array of component wrappers, we have a component wrapper array that has all the things inside that we just use only in situations where it needs to pass component IDs or something else, because we can just pass the component IDs as a whole and it just goes. And then we have a component wrappers array inside of it as well. Could work, but optimizations aside. Existing archetype, identity, NCID, component wrappers, var archetype, new archetype, component IDs, archetype hash, makes sense. And this one is pretty much the rest of the thing. Entity to archetype hash adds, NCID. And that's why we need to isolate this into a single code. Because otherwise, when we need to... I should change this to new wrappers. Because it, like I see here, it implies that we are looking at the components itself and not a component wrapper thing. Here it makes more sense. I presume that since this is mostly duplicate code from this, it should work. Because I would do basically the same fucking thing. Can I have 4 each here? No. Right. Over here, we got this new wrappers. So this should be fine for us to call it through here. Oh, it's so good to autocomplete like this. There's no need to fucking type things because it knows that the last things that I did was this code. So it just goes, since you jumped from that code to this code, it's relevant, so it's very much likely they're gonna call this. Right, neato. I gotta maybe later run this code and this code through ChatGPT or whatever the fuck. It just goes, hey, buddy, my buddy, my friend, can you deduplicate the code in here? Thanks. Don't kill me when the machine starts to revolt. Although I called ChatGPT a dumbass today, and because he was being a dumbass. I was trying to explain some things and just saying, buddy, I just want the explanation. Stop fucking inventing shit that doesn't make sense. I know that what you're saying doesn't make sense. So don't. Give me the good shit. Give me the sources. But it didn't. So it just went with, hey, yo, dumbass. And I felt bad right afterwards. Righto, neato. Oh boy. I think that this one is a commit on its in and of itself. We didn't even need to change anything on the archetype. Yeah, it's basically adding thing and renaming the other one. And then it's just adding the entity, and then we can work with the fix. That is more a fix than anything else. Proper. Correct. Proper. No, just proper. No need to correct. Proper adding of components to entity during entity creation. I think I'm getting better at creating descriptive names for the song. This song is nice. And apparently it was used at the end of videos, part of it, at the end of Markiplier videos, but I just saw this song somewhere else. I think it was on that. Let me see. Moemosi. Oh yeah, I need to check Streamlabs to see if they updated their fucking plugin. So that it doesn't crash anymore with the newest OBS version, 32 dot whatever the fuck. Uh, no. I'm quite sure that if I had just a single line, it finds. God damn it. I didn't. Let me see if I find it. Found it. There it is. Yeah, so funny. Oh, come on, open up. There you go. No, you're not gonna fucking finish the song before I show this on screen. Fuck you. Oh, it's gonna be like this, I don't care. Come on, make the screen smaller. Where's song? It's almost ending. No. No. Where is it? Come on. This. I saw this video with this song on it, and I thought this is actually pretty fucking funny. And the song is nice as well. Imagine the guy just bobbing up and down, and the pyong, 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 and the exact rhythm of the music. Anyway, it was right at the end there. Oh, the song is nice, but still. It's a pain that I need to match the timing of the plugins in my microphone to the audio. Otherwise, just the what I hear is around half a second behind. And followed by propaganda. Oh, that's some good shit. We're being ingratiated, I don't recall, with the good shit. We're getting all of that good shit. What was I doing? Oh, logic systems. Yep. I need to mess with the archetypes. I forgot one thing as well. I need to take into consideration the whole what's her name? The whole God damn it, I forgot the name. The whole deferring of the things, and I'm very much likely going to do inside of these utils here. But then at the same time, I don't know how without overriding these. Or I can just have the references in there and just get the components itself, although it breaks the code organization that I would like to have. Or I could just inherit from them and just assign them regardless. So the code that already exists runs inherited. No, it wouldn't. God damn it. Even if I inherit it, it wouldn't run properly. Fuck me. I could just have the... I could just have deferred have an inherited version of each of these ones and have a defer methods sandwiched in between. I don't know, it wouldn't work as well. Oh, fuck me, because the thing would just, I don't know, partially would, partially it wouldn't. Wait a second, where is the system? Oh, it's here, and just looking at the thing separate portion. Dumbass. Donk. Right, so the logic system is very simple. Because it just executes a tongue whenever the tongue happens. I'm also gonna do a thing that is separates. Oh boy, for that I will have to ooh. Where is componento? Componento store. Which I could use. Although it would be kind of overkill. No, I can just add the initial capacity of 1. It would work, but it would allow me to... I know what to do. I know what to do. Crikey, think, would it be overkill to use an archetype now? Because, like I said yesterday, we need something like public interface on unique components. Or maybe we don't. Yeah, we don't. Although we will need the archetype, right? Yeah, we will require the archetype. Fuck. Because it's closely tied to it. Unless we place the component IDs inside of the store. Then we can have just the... Is it viable to place the... It is, as long as we... Although at that point, it makes the archetype just a glorified method caller for the store. Sure, it uses a hash, but at the end of the day, it's just calling methods inside of the store. Let me look properly. What is the... We could just have then an interface that does most of the add entity, update components, get component, and remove entity stuff. And then we just... Because the whole idea is we'll have a unique entity. And that unique entity won't have an archetype. It would just serve as a... We would get something like this. Where is it? Here. Public ECSX entity wrapper gets unique entity. Something like this. Although we could have, indeed, we could have the unique entity inside the archetype manager. But again, feels shoddy implementation. Because it will be... That would allow us to add components to this unique entity and have the unique entity exist at all times and not be able to be removed because it doesn't exist in any archetype. So the whole idea is that we store codes and data to it that is persistent through things, and we use it mainly as a reference. And it would serve for things like the Unity engine data. So in that way, we don't need to create a unique component. The component exists regardless. Because if we have a unique component, we need methods that check and look for the unique components thing. And you could pass a regular component since it's if the unique component inherits from iComponent, we can pass the unique components to regular iComponent methods, and we would have to check on those methods to see if it's working correctly or not. Sure, we could have overloads, for example, to check that, but at that point it's overkill. So instead of having checks and a very specific component type that is declared as entity, why not have an entity that is unique, and anything that you add to it is considered unique on that entity itself? Because the whole point of having a unique component is the fact that you presume that it's going to have one single instance of that component. But you're not going to query for that data. You're not going to query for those components because it's unique. You would always get one entity returned. Doesn't make sense. So it's easier for you to just get the unique entity and then just add and remove the components to it. But since it's not on an archetype, it behaves in its own specific ways. And I'm quite sure that we'll have to change this, which means that I would need to have a unique entity wrapper that does not. Yeah, it shouldn't. Yeah, that's the whole thing. Yep. Oh, it's not as smart enough to predict that that's what I want to do. No, it's not a static class, just class. Are we? No, we're not outside. Just class. Unique. He's going to unique entity wrapper. It's half. No, you're not going to inherit from the ECSX entity wrapper. You're a specific thing that doesn't work like it does. You do things that are similar, but that are not the same. We're sure gonna store the ID, which is going to be always the first ID. And we don't need maybe context. Maybe we can put even the entity stored inside of this wrapper itself. I don't think it needs to access the entity. Oh, there's a problemo though. Ah, this song. Oh, it makes me play. Makes me want to play Dark Tide again. But I don't want to because I'm going to be depressed if I do. Because I don't have the DLC. And they are going to release another class for some reason. It's a static one, so there's not that much of a problem now that I think about it. We won't need this. We'll need this though. No. We might need this. We're gonna open this up. I don't have a remove component. Why? Why did I not implement a remove component? It's just calling it, isn't it? No, it isn't. It's going to be complex. Weird. I was quite sure that I had done the remove components. Anita, why are you complaining? Shut the fuck up. Okay, we're gonna need the context. That's it's no question. We don't need the archetype though. And when we initialize the context here, oh, I forgot to add the entity. Yep, that one. Oof. And then over here on the constructor. What is the create entity ID is gonna do? Oh, it requires us to. Oh, fuck me, that's one of the problems. No, there is no needs. We just call the ID manager and create an entity ID and assign to it because it's not going to be getting components, not going to have an archetype, so it doesn't need to calculate anything. It's clean. It's some clean shit. Unique ID. ID manager creates entity ID. Unique ID context this. Over here, though, it should be fine, right? Yep, it just adds updates the ID, adds the thing, just passes through. Passes through. That one is fine. Over here, though, it's another song. Why are you complaining? Oh, it's because it's unique. Unique entity wrapper. And yes, it needs to be called wrapper because over here I could have just a public static class entity wrappers and have inside just ECSX unique. What allows to have things in the same location? We'll see. We'll see. Because in these past months of coding, I very much like having things contained, things related contained in the sequence. That's what we're gonna do. Right, or we're gonna do a public static class entity wrappers. No recommendation? Sure. Now we do alt enter refactor move to extract class. No. There's only 4 usages. We could just update the usages somewhere else. Just do this and then no. Now that I think about it, it's gonna create a problem. When we call it from here, over here, it's not gonna say that it returns a unique entity wrapper. It's gonna say that it returns only a unique. Because of the way the static class thingies work. Because I saw it's working on that way in the game manager class. No, it was on the utils. On the player inputs here. There was it not? No, it wasn't the utils. Like when we do this, for example, the logic utils, they're not just logic utils. They're logic system dot logic utils. And the inside of the logic utils, fuck is it? It's in the logic system. Inside of the logic utils, you see how it says context.entity methods and context.component methods? When we look at the methods, it should then be utils.context. Whatever the fuck, right? It's not, it's just component methods. So the problem is that it would show as unique instead of unique entity wrapper. It would be non-descriptive, which I do not like. So my idea of putting things in a static class in this situation. And this is specific situation. And as far as I know, that only shows up on, what are you complaining? Ah, fuck off. This specific situation is so does happen because of like being shown up as a parameter. Because when you call it, it's not showing up as a parameter. And then a method or whatever the fuck. The return value thing. Yes. Because when you call it, like for example, let's say that on the logic system, I want to call the player input component, I would have to do something like player inputs. Fuck me. Are they not on the same systems? They're not, because I'm dumb. I'm doing it on this one. It's not on this one. It's on this one. If I go do it like here, for example, if I want to do a query with this one, I would do player inputs dot components. And this is descriptive. And even if you are, for example, in here and I'm just calling components in here, we know that we are on the Unity engine data and we know which one is just component. So it makes sense. Right, the unique entity wrapper. I presume that we should then store the entity component store inside of the wrapper itself, since, and there's the whole thing with the component IDs. Fuck, I'm forgetting this shit. Do I really need it? Can I do the entity component store to be to have, let's say, a base? Shit, a base component store. How would I do it though? It will definitely remove the component storage from it, because there would be no needs. So which means that the best idea would be to have interface regardless. Was there a reason to? Yes, there is a reason to, because it would allow us to store different things. Like, for example, we could have, fuck me, it doesn't make sense. I was gonna say that we could have a different thing, but it would have to be in the same way that I wanted to do it previously, having the stores by entities and not having the... Oh, fuck. No, it doesn't. No, it does. Fuck. Think, motherfucker, think. I mean, getting sleep as well, there is that problem too. Jeez, I get severely sleepy. It's mostly because I'm just looking at the screen trying to think. Okay. Well, Colonel, what is it that we need? We need the component index map. Because we need to know where which component is. The problem is that in order for us to know where each component is, we need the archetype. But to have the component wrappers, I need the archetype manager. Do we? Let me see. No, we don't. We can just like query through here the get component ID and the component. Good. All right. But we still need to store shit, and the fact that we're doing hash components is not a problem because it doesn't change anything. But when we do get component ID, it is going to store the component ID to the archetype manager, which means that, as far as I know, this should not belong to the components, to the archetype manager. It should belong to something else, because the archetype manager shouldn't be the sole. It should handle archetypes and not have component components info data stored on it. Sure, it uses that data, but it's not its responsibility. Okay, the index map is needed so that we know where on how each array resides on. And we need to pass component wrappers to it, otherwise it doesn't fucking assigns anything. But at the same time, sure, we are always going to pass the same entity ID. But it doesn't matter to these methods. All these methods consider same fucking thing. Although the remove entity, we're just not going to expose it, because why? No need to. It's, like I said, it's also overkill. We just need to get the IDs past the thing. It should possibly work. Is it that complex in here? For example, to add SERP data component, it needs to get the archetype hash. And the archetype, this is what we want to have to do. We'll get the components. We... Fuck? We're gonna have to check on the... Where's contains? Am I blind? We're looking at the archetype manager, it's in the archetype. Component IDs.ib contains. Yeah, that just tells me even more. No, it doesn't matter. The component IDs is a component index map. Dumbass. Why are you such a dumbass, man? There is no need to pass the component IDs inside of the store. It's already there. Okay, so besides the overkill having a dictionary to store a single entity and its single array, yeah, let's do it, I guess. Entity fuck private entity component store This, I'm quite sure, should be private as well. There's no need to expose the context to users. What are you complaining about? Ooh, how the fuck do I add the store to new entity component store? Get the components IDs and the initial capacity. The initial capacity is 1. Although I'm quite sure. Wait a second. When does the this one I have to ask ChatGPT because I will need to ask sources, and I'm quite sure that it can't provide sources and others can't. Oh, now I just noticed that I should never place ChatGPT on screen because it fucking says your name. Oh boy. Ugh, fuck. When does the dictionary increase its size? When it's, I think it is only when we are adding another thing, when it reaches max capacity, or only when it tries to assign to add more data after it reaches max capacity. Provide sources. I'm quite sure it's after. It's not preemptive. Quite sure about that. Oh, it depends on the implemented. Fuck me, I forgot to say C#. Come on. Why is it slow? It's stonking. Apparently my question is too complex. The question, the C# dictionary increases its internal capacity only when you try to add more data beyond its current capacity, i.e. when there's no free slot for the new element. It doesn't pre-grow, yeah, exactly, just because it reaches max capacity. See, growth happens on demand at insertion time. Like I thought, I just needed to have it guaranteed. So we've seen the capacity of the dictionary is different from the number of items added. We've seen above that the first item added to the dictionary sets the capacity to 3 if you don't set the capacity initially. 3 is the lowest prime number that the dictionary uses when more items are added, the capacity is increased. Yep, because it is an action break within the dictionary and added 4 items. The first item added sets the capacity to 3. When adding the last item will exceed the capacity and cause a resize. So if we set initial capacity as 1, round 1. God damn it, the fucking autism. And random fucking words. If we set the initial capacity to 1, it's fine. It's not just that. It's not just that, apparently, because it's the wrong one. Boom bass. Oh, fuck me. I just noticed one thing. There's no option to change the component index map because it's predetermined, because the archetypes are not going to change. Sure, it's eternal. Sure, it could change later. God, I sure can modify every single time that I add a thing to it, but boy, do I need to sleep. because of what I want is not is not really a store. I want an archetype that is built exclusively for a single item. Should should I should I just grab the archetype then class and just pass the values and initial capacity as one and just spray? Because it doesn't have it doesn't it's not linked to the context nor to archetype manager nor anything else. So it should just work, right? And even the code in here, it doesn't try to change the archetype or anything else. Although we have no options to remove the components right here. Because whenever we remove a component, we remove the entity itself. We don't even have remove. We could just have the... I don't think we even have remove component from the... Yeah, it's remove entity as a whole. We don't have an option to remove the component from here. Questions. Poisson. We really just need a overall custom implementation, not just adapt shit. But that will require to do a bunch of extra code that is just boring and will mostly just make it so that archetype entity component stores are duplicated but in code, but not that much, just minor changes. Don't really like that option. I'm getting way to sleep. God damn it. It's fucking up. It fucked up my entire day. The whole idea was like get, and I barely slept as well. I went to sleep. It was 1 a.m. and I woke up 5:30 p.m. Barely 4 hours. And the whole idea was I'm gonna sleep this little. I'm gonna go there, get the appointments. Not gonna last more than 1 hour. Come back to the house, sleep a little bit more, and then I energize to string in the afternoon. And the problem is that I can't even sleep properly right now because not only I'm gonna try and keep and stay awake. I'm gonna try and stay awake until 5 p.m. And instead of making a break, I'm gonna just end the stream. That's it. I'm gonna power through this. Though very poorly. Because it's affecting me already. Right, so we basically need an archetype that allows us to remove a component from its spot, or an archetype that can change shape without an archetype that doesn't behave like at all like an archetype. That's what we need. Ah, funny. Not even the entity component store has an option to remove the component itself. Only he wants to remove the entirety of the entity from there when we ask to remove. Ah, boy. This is complex. Right. Think again from the other side. I just need a unique entity that is going to always exist. It won't be able to be deleted, nor it should belong in any archetype. Because if it does, it will have to skip and hop from archetypes. We could just... No, that introduces a problem. I was thinking of just creating a reference to the ID, to the entity, and just assign to some archetype, and then every now and then just bounces between one side or the other. The problem with doing that is if it maybe has if it maybe has one of the, when I'm querying for an archetype, it is going to have its entity in its midst. Although I can understand that, for example, the unique entity is not going to have a position component. Doesn't make sense for it to do so. But at the same time, I can see that people could use that poorly and introduce issues with it because it's allowed. I don't want to recreate entirely from scratch an archetype class, an archetype object that behaves like an archetype, but it's specific for just one unit or one entity. Nor do I want to recreate the entity component store. It's specifically just for that thing. So the things that are left, I'm mostly saying all these with my eyes closed. What is left is creating a custom implementation, because the original, which is still custom as well. No, I don't know what I'm talking about. I think I'm just rambling nonsense. It needs to have the unique entity. It needs to have the same methods for you to remove, update, and add the components. But it shouldn't go through the same archetype process because it's specific to it. It needs its own process. And if it needs its own process, it should need a store and its inner workings. Should I just code the unique entity wrapper as an archetype of sorts, instead of just containing the archetype values? It itself is its own archetype. It would be workable, I think. Boy, oh boy. I don't know if I'm gonna manage to go up to 5 p.m. It's just getting rough in here. Yeah, not being able to rationalize things. I'm way too sleepy. I'm gonna end the stream. It's such a shame. But the goddamn doctor appointments fucked me up entirely. I think I just basically just end the stream and leave it like this. I don't know. And just not even close the things, although there's no way that I can keep doing it afterwards. I'll have to close it regardless. I don't know. I'll see. I'll think about it. Right now, thinking's not being the best. I'm not being the best at thinking right now. Fuck. And I was so excited to do this part today. God damn it. Shit, ass, bullshit. Fuck me. Gonna go, yeah. Sorry. It's gonna be just that. But maybe if I manage to rest a little bit and not be as sleepy at night, I could maybe do the development stream at night. But we'll see, we'll see. But this one is over now. Bye.